What is the greatest comeback to an insult you've ever heard? My best friend. After an argument with some kid from our school in a shop, we began walking away down the street. Kid, where you going, pussy? Friend, your mom's house. Kid, my mom lives the other way, idiot. Friend, nah, I meant your real mom. Air traffic control doing a poor job of vectoring an Airbus A330 in for landing. Pilot, you've left us too high. I don't think we can make the approach. ATC, you've got speed brakes on that thing, don't you? Pilot, after a noticeable pause, yes, but those are for my mistakes, not yours. A friend in high school on our way to a track meet. He was staring at a car in the parking that was really nice. When this bag saw him. Bag, why bothering looking at that when you know you'll never be able to get one? My friend, the same reason you watch porn. The entire bus erupted and it's still one of the funniest things I've ever heard. A dude in my class called out a semi-friend of mine, that people are talking behind his back. In fact, that wasn't the case, as far as I know, and that guy said, well, you know what to say about you? Nothing, nobody fucking cares. So there was two girls fighting and one of them looks at my sister who was minding her own busyness and says, you go to hell too. My sister, do you want me to say anything to your mom? It's gotta be the aliens locker room scene for me. Hudson, hey Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man? Vasquez, no, have you? English class in middle school. Kid A. Yo, Kid B, your mama waited on me at McDonald's last night. Must feel like shit having a mom that works at McDonald's. Kid B, at least my mom gets out of bed to go to work. English teacher far louder than he realized. Damn. The rest of us were laughing so hard, the teacher next door popped her head in to see what was going on. Context: John Oliver from HBO interviews Stephen Hawking, may he rest in peace. Joe, and there may be a universe where I am more intelligent than you? SH, there may even be a universe where you are funny. Overheard by me, the school bus driver, one fifth-grade student was belittling a first grader. When it was time for a comeback, first grader shouts out, congratulations. The bewildered fifth grader had nothing to say and went to sit down with her friends in the back of the bus. Joe Pine interviewing Frank Zappa. Joe, I guess your long hair makes you a woman. FZ, I guess your wooden leg makes you a table. Many years ago, when we were about 18, a friend of mine was arguing with another person we knew. This person was trying to be a badass and intimidate my buddy. He says my feet are registered. Without missing a beat, my friend replies, where? Health and sanitation. 40 years later I still crack up at this when it comes to mind. A guy makes fun of his bald friend by rubbing his head and saying, wow, your head is as smooth as my wife's bottom. The friend also rubs his head and says, wow, you're right. I asked my mother why she always wears makeup despite being in her 40s. She told me she wears makeup so she doesn't look like me. Someone yelled out in a Walmart, I'm not ashamed of who I am. Another voice echoed back, that's your parents' job. I used to work with this like 70-year-old woman, she was our supervisor, and one day one of the ladies who worked with us told this old lady to kiss my ass and the old lady replied, where do I start? You're so fat your crack goes all the way up your back. During World War I, Switzerland had a tiny standing army, but they were very skilled marksmen. Wilhelm II of Germany asked what 250k Swiss troops would do if he decided to invade with 500k German troops. The Swiss said, shoot twice and go home. David Letterman, I'm not as dumb as I look. Tina Fey, how could you be? 18th century British radical politician John Wilkes was told in Parliament by a political opponent, sir, I do not know whether you will die on the gallows or of the pox. Wilkes shot back with, that depends, my lord, on whether I embrace your lordship's principles or your mistress. Imagine hitting someone with such a burn that people are discussing it 250 years later. If you weren't so stupid, what would you be? Asks the husband. The wife replies, without even skipping a beat. Single. I was the one insulted, but not the one with the comeback. I was out with a co-worker and her friends and my buddy and I were leaving a little too early for her sensibilities. She jokingly got up in my face and said, smell that? Smells like pussy. A guy playing at the pool table next to us stepped forward and said, I'm sorry, that must be me. I just ate. It was amazing. Definitely a great comeback. but not to an insult, more to an annoyance. I was a camp counselor for a few years at a summer camp. One day my group took a hike to a large rock where we had lunch. My campers were between 8 and 10 years old. This one kid we'll call Jeff keeps poking another kid we'll call Matt in my group to look at this hole in the rock. It's so cool. It's like 6 inches deep and the other kid is clearly getting annoyed just trying to eat his lunch. He keeps shoving sticks into the hole and trying to get everybody to look at it. Finally Matt just puts down his sandwich, looks at Jeff, and goes, "I'll be 6 inches deep in your mom later if you don't shut up." I was trying so hard to be stern with this kid for saying something so inappropriate, but I kept cracking up. It was just such a disproportionately ridiculous thing to say coming from a 9-year-old. My grandma got into a fight at the grocery store with a guy who told my 9-year-old brother to move the fuck out of the way. They were going at it and his final words were, "Suck my dick, bitch." She said across the store if I could find it, bitch. There's a story about Margaret Asquith, a British socialite and author, meeting Jean Harlow and correcting Harlow's mispronunciation of her first name. No, the D is silent, as in Harlow. Chelsea Handler told Russell Brand, "The way you are looking at me makes me wants to cover my vagina." He replied, "Mom, if I had a rubber glove, I'd do it for you." Crowd burst into laughter and she even acknowledged that was good. My grandparents used to bicker. My grandmother generally came out on top, as she was fierier. One time though, she was asking him to do a bunch of stuff, and he muttered, "If you'd lose some weight, you could do it yourself." She fixed her gaze on him, and glowered, "I'm thinking of getting rid of about 200 pounds of useless fat immediately." He replied, "You're going to cut off your foot." Quiet guy in my art class got called queer bait. He replied with, "If I'm the bait then you're the catch of the day." On a construction site one afternoon, different trades were working in the same area. Like silly team sports, the Sparkies always hang with the Sparkies and the Turd Wranglers always hang with the Turd Wranglers, and anytime they're together it turns into a pointless stick measuring contest, usually not literally. One particularly childish exchange saw two men chopping back and forth, "My dick biggest, blah blah blah." Finally one of them spits out this classic, "I've got girth like a can of corn." And the clapback was unforgettable. "But you've got length like a can of tuna." Everyone busted up. Mr. Girth tried to hide his embarrassment, but was tied up. No comeback. And a room of men laughing uncontrollably. Good times. What are you looking at? I'm still trying to find out. Saw a clip of a stand-up comedian the other day, and he says something along the lines of, "The first time I had sex it was terrible. The first time I had sex." And a woman chimes in with, "You mean yesterday?" Crowd laughs for a while, and while the comedian is waiting for them to calm down you can see the gears turn in his head. Once it gets down to basically a few chuckles, he just says, "Glad you remember," and the crowd just lost their shit. It was amazing. A friend of mine was getting bitched at by these two identical twin girls in a class I had once. He replied with a troubling look on his face and said, "If you two are identical, how come only one of you are hot?" That dude played the long game as those two girls looked rather perplexed for the rest of the session. I expected a better insult from someone of your upbringing and education. Glenn McGrath, Aussie cricketer, got frustrated with Ed O'Brandis as his every attempt to stump Brandis failed. This is what happened next. McGrath, "Why are you so fat?" Brandis, "Because every time I fuck your wife, she gives me a biscuit." On an Indian roast show, there were two bald twin brothers and the roaster told them, "You two confuse me on a biological level. You two look like testicles but you are both assholes." I am still waiting for an opportunity to use that. I've been called worse things by better people. Not heard, but read. Easily the Spartans replied to Philip II of Macedon. As Philip II of Macedon was conquering Greek city-states left and right, Sparta was left alone. Philip had achieved a crushing victory, and Sparta was relatively weak and without walls. Philip sent a message to the Spartans saying, "If I invade Laconia you will be destroyed, never to rise again." The Spartans replied with one word, "If." One of my co-workers was cold calling customers, trying to get appointments to drum up business. One of them told him to go fuck his hand, and he responded with, "I've got that penciled in for 3. I should be done by 4 if you'd like to come in for an appointment then." The guy laughed his ass off, and ended up coming in for the appointment. I was bullshitting with a couple of buddies, and may have suggested that I banged one of their moms, to which said friend replied, "My mom's dead." My mouth bypassed my brain and replied, "That explains the dirt. You sure do talk a lot for never saying anything." This happened about 5 years ago now. There was this one annoying kid in my math class in high school. Being loud, ignoring the teacher. He was mixed race, only bringing this up because it's related. He's talking rather loudly with a guy next to him. Teacher tells him shut the hell up. Kid makes a point that he's half black and being mean to him is racist. Some stupid shit like that. Teacher looks him dead in the eyes and says, I was talking to your white half. Stupid. Hands down my favorite teacher. Me, we should learn from our mistakes. My friend, so that's why you have a younger sister? Easy. Now, don't let your brains go to your head. Dude bragging, I got a big dick. Friend, what happened? Someone break one off in your ass. My grandma asked my cousin, who'd had lots of partners and 2 kids at this point, if she was ever going to get married. Cousin, it's not the same nowadays. We don't buy cars without test driving them first. Grandma, yeah. But they don't let you put 100,000 miles on them either. Point goes to Granny. I have a bunch, but one of the more memorable ones was back in 8th grade. For context, I didn't make the basketball team 7th grade, but I made the team in 8th grade. This kid that was on the team the previous year but didn't make it currently was really upset and telling me how bad I am and blah blah blah. I told him that if he is better than me then why didn't he make the team, and he replied with it's just cause of my grades bro. So I replied with oh so you're just fucking stupid then. He gave up cause it was either accept that he was bad or accept he was an idiot so. The classic, you're adopted at least my parents chose to have me. I was 14 or 15 and had a quiet nerdy friend with really bad acne. My older brother had these 3 friends, all brothers 2, 3, and 4 years older than me and my friend. They were all gangsta, and started their own gang, which I always thought was really funny. Me and my friend walked in the front door. My brother and his friends were all sitting at the TV playing Halo. One of the brothers looked at my friend and said, holy shit Sam, I got 2 words for you ACNEE pad. Sam replied cool and I got 2 words for you Johnny speech therapy. The guy had a pretty bad stutter. He jumped right up and started trying to fight my friend. As long as I could remember after that he wanted to fight Sam, but we just ignored them. I don't know why this stuck with me for so long. It was such perfect delivery and shutdown of a bully. Edit, unrelated but another funny story about these 3 brothers. They were walking through my backyard after playing basketball, mid-afternoon. I hear Johnny screaming oh fuck run and the oldest brother who was about 5 feet 1 comes running up my driveway wearing his oversized jean shorts and Jordan jersey. He was trying to get away from a bat that had bitten him several times in the face and head. He wound up getting 16 or some high number of shots in his stomach because the bat probably had rabies. Odd bunch of guys who tried way too hard to live the G life, but weren't any good at it.